2, 1. Somehow this thing started going live. The app must have updated before I even expected to. Anyway, what's up, guys? My name is Monroe Mann, and got an awesome agenda for today's live stream. I'm just heading back to the apartment. Come here, Dancer. And I'm excited to share a few with you. And dog, let's go. All right. It's still cold here in Miami Beach, which is fantastic. The weather, I can't believe it's, sometimes you get a few chilly days, but we've got 2 whole weeks. It's quite, hey, what's up? So we're still, all right. Okay, I'm back. And this is strange that it's 2 minutes and there's not one person here. Something's going on. We'll see. I want to keep on chatting and see if anybody does show up or if there's something going on with the live stream, because usually there's at least one person here at this point. I will go for until about 3 minutes if there's no one here. Oh, okay, there we go. Finally. Welcome. Something happened. YouTube's changed the app, and suddenly it started to go live before I was even ready to go live, which was kind of annoying. I don't know exactly what happened. First thing I want to talk about is this movie called 3 Idiots. You got to run if you have not seen this movie yet. Hello, Jamie. It's actually right here, 3 Idiots. And you can see it's an award-winning Bollywood comedy movie from 2009. Oh my gosh, so funny. The story just kept on going and going and going. On Breakdiving, this is this social media community I created. This guy from India, and then this girl from the Philippines, and then this girl from Pakistan. They all were talking about 3 Idiots. And that's right, you can call me an idiot, that's fine, because in this context, the idiots are the stars of the movie. And man, I cried about 7 to 8 times during this movie. And it was like 10 movies in one movie. It is long, it's around 2 hours and 30 minutes. So worth it, 100% worth it. And if you want a movie that'll make you laugh, make you cry, give you motivation to pursue your dreams, go check out the movie called 3 Idiots. And Jude, I did read your message and I already responded to you. So maybe you're the idiot because you're not listening to me talking. So I think you should try that. I gave you the benefit of the doubt by already responding to your message, and then you're telling me, read the message. Listen to what I'm talking about. And you hear that I already referred to you. I'm so shocked with the production value of this film. And I've wanted to visit India before. This makes me want to visit India even more. Super touched, super impressed. And I just wanted to say that if you're looking for a really good movie to watch, go watch 3 Idiots, the movie with, who is it? Amir Khan and Kareena Kapoor in the 2 leading roles. It makes me want to go check out other Bollywood movies, because if these oh, awesome. We got some awesome spammers in here. That's fantastic. It always makes me happy when I get some spammers, because that means YouTube is pushing me to a new audience. So thank you, Ava. Actually, a lot of people care because that movie won 61 awards worldwide. So maybe your name is Nobody, and maybe that's why you said nobody cares, because maybe that's your real name in real life is Nobody. So that's fine if you don't care. But a lot of people do care, and my fans do care. And I would hope that they would be appreciative of what I'm sharing. And I know they are. So anyway, the people who do care, go watch the movie 3 Idiots. It's really, 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 really good. What's up, Wiley, too? Thanks for sharing sharing some beautiful verses from the Bible. Jamie also wants to visit India. I agree. Peter Granada, respect to you as well. And, and let's see. Hey, Zach 546. And what's up? My name is Asia. Okay, that's good. And yeah, Jamie, if you have to pick one Bollywood movie to watch in 2025, watch Three Idiots. I was skeptical too. And I'm thinking, I'm sure these folks from India or the Philippines are just telling me that they think it's amazing, but it's not really that great. Honestly, it was better than most Hollywood films that I've seen. So please go check it out. And that's that. The other thing that I want to talk about today is I made a big decision tonight, and it's a very relieving one. And in some ways, it's sad, but it's also, like I said, very relieving, and I think it's the right one. And I'll explain what that decision is in a moment. But first, I want to tell you what the thought process is of what I was going through today. And I've been reading this book, Essentialism, because I liked the concept, which is the disciplined pursuit of less. The disciplined pursuit of less. See you later, Ava. Nice to see you for a little bit. And the book talks about a lot of things, and in some ways, it's very contradictory to my life philosophy. My life philosophy is you can pursue as many dreams as you want, and you can achieve many of them. And all right, Jude, you're going to get timed out for a little bit because you're just being annoying. Okay, there you go. And so, all right. And next person who starts being really annoying in there, we'll get timed out as well. My whole philosophy in life, and it's also why I started that company, Break Diving, which is a not-for-profit, is go after all your dreams because you got one life to live, so you should try to achieve as many dreams as you possibly can. Now, that comes with a price if you do that, because it does require massive time management skills. It requires incredible organization. It requires lots of planning and figuring, well, what should I do now? What should I do tomorrow? Which of these two things can I do at the same time? It works, but it's stressful. And it's stressful, especially when you start to add lots and lots of things. Every human is only one person. And there is a limit to what every person can do by his or her own self. And I think I got to that point in the last 4 years where I moved down to Florida. I started this private investigation firm, which was a dream of mine. I continue to push forward with break diving and coding it and getting new volunteers and lots of stuff with that community. I'm working on pre-med at Miami-Dade College. I have 3 more classes. I start Physics 1 on Saturday, which is in 2 days or 3 days. I also care for my mom. I manage her finances in her life. I'm trying to manage my finances in my life. I mean, it is just an overwhelming mess at the moment. And it's overwhelming. And it's scary and it's anxiety inducing. And what I finally realized is, again, by reading this book, but it was stuff that I was already thinking about, a huge part of my stress, and maybe you can relate, is there's just way too much going on. And as much as I firmly believe that I can pursue and achieve multiple dreams, not only can I have done it. As some of you know, I'm a 2-time TEDx speaker. I have a PhD in psychology. I'm a lawyer. I have an MBA in finance. I am a Bronze Star nominated Iraq war veteran. What else? I mean, I'm a certified PMP, project management professional. I speak a bunch of languages. I've lived in China. I've lived in Switzerland. I lived in France. I've lived in Iraq. I live in the United States. I'm not telling you this stuff to brag. I'm telling you all this stuff to let you know that I do know what I'm talking about when I say you can achieve a lot of dreams in life. You don't have to just pick one and throw all the others to the side. However, and this was my great epiphany tonight, and I'm really excited about it. Even the best time management gurus, and even the most productive people, and even the most masterful project jugglers can push themselves too far. I remember talking with my students last year, about the fact that you need to, some people, I would say, would you want to live a life of zero stress? And some of the students would raise their hand. I go, really? So you want absolutely no stimulation whatsoever? And they go, well, what do you mean? You said stimulation. Well, you said stress. I said, well, what is stress but a form of stimulation? There are two different types of stress. There's distress, D-I-S, which is negative, discouragement, which is the opposite of encouragement. There's distance, which is a long distance between two things. There's disappointment, which is the opposite of an appointment. But that word dis is negative. So there's distress. Well, if all stress is the same, why is there a word distress? Why isn't it just called stress? And a lot of people, I have to plug myself in, a lot of people wrongly think that distress is the mother word of stress, and that stress is just a shortened version of distress, but it's not. There's another type of stress that many of you probably have never even heard about. It's called eustress, not Y-O-U. It's E-U, like euphoria. I don't know, you've probably heard that word, euphoria, E-U. That's a Greek prefix and generally means happy or good. So eustress, E-U stress, is good stress. So now we've got these two different types of stress. We've got distress and we've got eustress. When I explained that to my students, I said, okay, who here can explain what eustress is? And then they could say, okay, some examples. It's the anticipation you have when you're going to go on a date with some hot boy or girl that you're interested in. It's the idea when you get one of those little scratch-off lottery tickets, for that brief moment when you start scratching, whether you realize it or not, your body is changing and you've got this feeling of excitement and enthusiasm because you think, what if I win $50? What if I win $1,000? What if I win $25,000? You're not distressed, but there's definitely stress on your body, on your brain. It's called eustress. So I went back to the students and said, look, I asked you before, who wants a life of zero stress? Now, nobody raised their hand because now they understood that stress is sometimes very good. Stress is sometimes very good. So if you've got at the bottom, what's up, Galaxy? Great to have you here. Snake oil. I am obstressed. Yeah, that could be another one, snake oil. Absolutely. So let's say at the bottom, we've got distress. This is the most horrible thing that you could have. And let's say you got 100% distress here. Anxiety falls under distress, snake oil. I had a great Christmas, Ava. Talk about that later. Then we come up here to zero stress. And then we have eustress. So we don't, the ideal place for optimal human functioning is somewhere between, it's not between 0 and 100% distress. It's between, I guess it should be better if it's horizontally. So this is distress, this is zero stress, and this is eustress. A lot of people have, it's this way. They got like 20% distress or 40% distress. The key is you want to have somewhere along the lines of maybe 40% eustress. Now, some people say, well, no, I want 100% eustress. No, you don't. Because that puts you in this manic state of like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't believe it. I can't believe that I'm going to go on this amazing date with this girl. Oh my God. Oh my God. And people have been like that. And you know people who are like that. Maybe you've even been like that. You got to calm yourself down and go, calm down. Bring down that eustress from 90 down to maybe 40 or 50%. And snake oil, you're right. It's got to be balanced. And Galaxy has adjustment disorder anxiety. Ava says, my aunt has anxiety. Now, if those people who have anxiety, and to all of us do to an extent, at any given point in time, you're fluctuating from like 70% distress to no stress to 30% eustress to 60% eustress. At some point, you need zero stress. You don't want any distress and you don't want any eustress. Why? Because sometimes you just need a vacation. Sometimes you need your brain to just go, ugh. And we all understand that. Some of you play video games. Some of you may just watch a television show or watch a movie. Like my mom and I watched this movie, Three Idiots, tonight. And it was a great 2.5 hours of, well, honestly, it was eustress a little bit. Because it was a good movie and it got me thinking about a lot of things. But basically, it was no stress, just relaxing. The problem is if you are at like 80% distress or 80% eustress, both of those 80% plus are going to put you in a bad emotional state of mind and a bad psychological state of mind. And it is not going to help you in any way. But now I think you understand that stress is good. Can distress and anxiety cause you to solve problems? 100%. If you've got 10 or 20% distress, that's not bad. Maybe you have a deadline that's coming up. You have a combination there of distress and eustress. Let's say you have 2 days before your deadline for your school paper and you've had a whole semester. When it gets to 2 nights before, you start to have a little bit of eustress because it's not horribly stressful yet, and you're pushing yourself, and it's like, okay, this is actually going to give you some momentum and some motivation to get something done. The problem, and let's say you're making good progress, and after 24 hours, you're 60% done. You can go, oh, okay. You still have eustress, but there's a little distress in there too, because like, oh my gosh, it's only 24 hours until I have to turn in the paper. Let's say you have 2 hours, you finish and there are 3 hours left before you have to turn in. You can maybe breathe a little bit more easily, but do you go to sleep? Probably not, because you might not wake up and then you can't turn in your paper. But you still got eustress, but you got a little bit of distress because you're scared about sleeping. Let's give a different scenario. Let's say it's 24 hours beforehand and you're only 10% done. You're still working hard, 12 hours to go. And you're only 20% done. The eustress is gone. Now distress is starting now, it's 10% distress. Now you have 2 hours left and you're only 30% done. Now your distress is about 60%. And now you only have an hour left and you still haven't finished the paper. Your distress has just gone up to 65%. Now, what happens when the distress goes to 100? You say goodbye to yourself, if that makes any sense. I don't want to say specifically, but it's the same thing when I talk about the quit line. When your distress there's the quit line that we talked about. As long as your level of hope is 0.0001, you're above the quit line. Okay? But once the quit line is reached, that's not true, Snake Oil. And if you're the only person listening, then I think that's great. But that's not true. And people come and watch this later anyway. If you lose your hope and you go below the quit line, that's when you do something drastic. At the same time, what will put you below the quit line? If your distress gets to 100%. You do not want your stress level to get to 100%. Why am I talking about all this? Because my stress level over these last 5 years there was a lot of eustress for many, many years. My dad died in 2017. I took over helping my mom and doing all the things I have to do for her. And I started another company, this private investigation firm, on top of break diving, on top of my law practice. And I moved to Florida to make it happen. And and started this real estate investment company with my mom. We have 2 real estate properties now, working on getting the 3rd one this year, potentially. It just became so overwhelming. And these last 2 years have not been fun. They have not been fun. Why? Because I have been so absolutely overwhelmed. And I believed that, Monroe, just keep going with everything and it's all going to work out. Keep doing everything and you're going to just make it. It's all just going to magically come together because you're Monroe Mann and you make magic happen. And to a large extent, that is very, very true. And for those of you who are new, just do a Google search for Monroe Mann and people are always shocked when they go and they go, whoa, I had no idea you've done all of that. My dream, part of the reason I joined the military was to gain experience to become a private investigator. So when I was in college, and I always wanted to be a private investigator, and I always wanted to have a private investigation agency. And it was a big dream of mine. That's a romantic career, a lot of fun, blah, blah, blah. But I tried to apply to become a private investigator in New York in 1999. And I got the letter back and said, you don't have the experience. You need 3 years of experience as an investigator, law enforcement, all that stuff, and doing investigations. And so I said, all right, well, that dream is dead for now. What could I do to gain experience? So that's when I started applying to the military. The military was something I always wanted to do, but that was kind of the impetus that all right, well then if I can't be a PI, let me join the military. And I did that. I joined the military, became an intelligence officer, went to Iraq. I was also at 9/11, helping during that tragedy, and got my experience in Iraq as an intelligence officer. I also did some investigations of friendly fire incidents for the JAG Corps, Judge Advocate General. Came back home and became a lawyer, got my MBA in finance. I mean, did a whole bunch of other things. I got my PhD in psychology, but the dream of being a PI was always there. And in 2017, I started to look to find out if I could meet the requirements to become a private investigator in New York. And I was still an attorney in New York. And I was trying to, and then a whole bunch of other things happened. I mean, it was just a big, whatever, whole comedy of errors or whatever. And I decided I hate living in New York. I don't want to be in this cold anymore. And I started applying. I applied to get a PI license in Las Vegas and Colorado and Florida. The Las Vegas one got rejected. The Colorado one I got. The Florida one was rejected. But strangely, Colorado, I'll read everything in a second. When I get on a roll, I can't stop. So I'm not going to stop my monologue until I'm done. But I will read all your text in a little bit. And I got this PI license from Colorado and a letter saying the Governor Jared Polis, did not renew the legislation for licensed private investigators in Colorado. So here's your Colorado PI license, and next month it will expire, and you will no longer be a licensed PI in Colorado because there will be no more licensed PIs in Florida. What's up, Carly? But when I got the rejection letter from Florida at the exact same time I got the approval from Colorado. I wrote to Florida, and said, why would you reject my license from Florida when your requirements are the exact same as for Colorado? Here's my Colorado license. Would you reconsider? A week later, they said, congratulations, you've got your private investigator license. And so that was the writing on the wall. All right, I'm moving to Florida. So that's why I moved down to Florida. That was the number one reason, was to start this private investigation firm. And I created it as a not-for-profit because I wanted to do it as a public service to other people. And after 2 years, I knew I had enough experience here and also in Iraq and as an attorney, all that. I applied to get my New York license as well. So the good news is I have a private investigation agency in New York and in Florida, and it's a not-for-profit. The bad news is I did not enjoy any bit, really, of being a private investigator. I found it was the work that I did not love doing as an attorney. And it was just emailing people and knocking on doors, and I just realized the romance was not there. It was not the thing that, it's not Magnum PI. I mean, maybe other people have a PI agency that actually is like that, but it wasn't my experience. And bottom line, where am I getting to with this? Is I realized, I'm going to read you a section from this book, and you might figure out where this story is leading. So I'm reading from this book, Essentialism. And none of this stuff is new. I've known all this stuff. I've written about some of this stuff in some of my books. By the way, if any of you want to check them out, you can go to Amazon.com and search for Monroe Mann. You can also go to Barnes & Noble. Let me read this. So I found this chapter here. Let me zoom out. Win big by cutting your losses. And it talks about here the Concorde jet. The Concorde was this airplane that went from New York to Paris in 2.5 hours. For you younger people, you might not even realize that this actually existed. And this existed in the 1970s. Okay, guys, stop fighting. And let me just see what's going on right here. Yeah, Ava, you don't need to be rude. If it's boring, then you can leave. A lot of people that find this interesting. If you don't have any dreams in life, then definitely go somewhere else. My channel, one of the biggest purposes is to inspire people and motivate them and cheer them up. And so, Galaxy, you've been a good job by not removing Ava's messages. But Ava, if you do keep being critical of me or the other people in there, we may time you out because you're distracting everybody. So let me read this section here. Win big by cutting your losses. Talking about the Concorde. For 40 years, I think it was 30 or 40 years, this Concorde jet was in operation. The problem is, it was super expensive. It was hard to fix the airplane. It was a logistical nightmare. It never made money, not 1 year when it was in operation. But the French and British governments continually invested money into this Concorde project. And it's based on why? Why did they keep putting so much money into something that was losing? And the answer is sunk costs. And I'll explain a little bit about that by sharing a little bit more from the book. Now, a sunk cost, just in general, is something that you've already spent money and time on. Why do they call it a sunk cost? It's already sunk to the bottom of the ocean. There's nothing you can do about it. It's gone. You've spent the money. You've exhausted your effort. You've spent the time. But, and let me read this here. Look at this. Why would intelligent, capable British and French government officials continue to invest in what was clearly a losing proposition for so long? The answer is the sunk cost bias. And you think about it, like, why do we, when you go to the movie theater and 20 minutes into it, you're completely bored by the movie, but you sit there and you keep watching the movie until the end? Most of us do anyway. Why? Because you think in your mind, you rationalize it. I already took the effort. Hi, Lily Vicray. I already made the purchase of the movie ticket. I'm already sitting here. I'm here with my friend or my family, or I'm here by myself. I go to the movies by myself often. It's because you want to rationalize your decision, and you want to believe that you are smart. You want to believe that you didn't spend your time, effort, and energy on a bad decision. Now, on the other hand, let's say you're watching a movie on one of those streaming services or on television. Either way, whether it's on television, it's free. If it's on a streaming service, you've already paid the $5 a month or $10 a month. So the sunk cost is already there. You're not going to gain anything by continuing to watch it. I guarantee you, you turn off movies on Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or whatever, or Disney Plus, more quickly than you would get up and walk out of a movie theater after you've bought the ticket. So that's a sunk cost. And it's the same thing here with me in this private, with a lot of the things I've done. Let's just do all of the things. I've already started this pre-med program. I've already finished 2 classes so far of Biology 1 and Biology 2. I have already moved to Florida. I have already, I'm trying to think of some other things. I've already started the private investigation firm. I've already spent all the time and money getting the licenses in New York and Florida and setting up the not-for-profit structure, the website, Google Ads, I mean, the whole shebang. I've done the same thing with breakdiving. I've done the same thing with my YouTube channel, with my breakdiving YouTube channel. Those are all sunk costs. And you can think about your own life. Anything that you've already done it's a sunk cost. Some of you have been here for 33 minutes. Maybe some of you just joined for 10 minutes ago, whatever. It's a sunk cost. And so, Ava, if you find this boring, and I'm not criticizing you, but you gave an interesting example. She said, this is boring, but you're still here. Why? I'm not trying to push you away, but that's what this whole conversation is about. Just because you've already spent time, money, and effort to do something doesn't mean you have to continue to do that thing. Let me go to, by the way, I hope, Ava, that you will stick around and become a fan and click subscribe and like and all that. Let me read another section from this because we're getting to the punchline of here. Where's the section? Uncommit. There we are. I'm just turning the pages here. Here. It says, where's the question? Oh. Have you ever continued to invest time or effort in a non-essential project instead of cutting your losses? Have you ever kept plodding down a dead end because you could not admit, I shouldn't have pursued this direction in the first place? An essentialist has the courage and confidence to admit his or her mistakes and uncommit, no matter the sunk costs. So let me just go to the next part. This is getting the beautiful stuff here. Pretend you don't own it yet. And you can apply this to things you actually own, such as a book or a service. I have Amazon Prime here, buying the guitar, taking guitar lessons, spending time on YouTube, pursuing the monetization of a YouTube channel, whatever it is. Don't ask, we're looking right there, don't ask, how will I feel if I miss out on this opportunity? So in other words, I shouldn't be asking in anything that I do, how would I feel if I shut something down? Or how will I feel if I give up on an opportunity that I'm working on? How will I feel if I drop out? How will I feel if... That's not the question to ask. Because if you ask, how will I feel if I drop out? You're using sunk costs as your basis. You do not want to make a decision based on, well, what will happen, if I shut this down, or if I drop out of school, or if I give up on this license, or if I stop this relationship, how is that going to interfere with things? No, the question to ask is, how much would I be willing to sacrifice in order to obtain it in the first place? So in other words, let's say, here, these gloves right here. To sell these right now, right at this moment, if someone wanted to buy them from me, $20, because it's the only one that I have right here. But if I didn't have them, how much am I willing to buy them for? $2, $3, $4? In other words, you overvalue things that you own. And you are more likely to say that you don't need something if you don't already have it. And so here's the other question right here. If I weren't, he says if I wasn't, but his grammar is wrong. Greg McCowan used bad grammar and his editors are absolutely horrible. Okay, now that that's out of the way, there should be if I weren't, because it's subjunctive, because it is not true. If I weren't already involved in this project, how hard would I work to get on it? Or in other words, if I didn't already have this, it's like the scene from The Wolf of Wall Street, sell me this pen. Yeah, Freeboat, very, 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 very much related. 100%, 100%. Bye, Galaxy, bye, Carly. And for those of you stuck around, you're gonna hear the actual lesson of this. Carly and Galaxy are not gonna get the lesson. Ask yourself, think about every single thing that's in your life right now, and ask yourself, if I did not have this, how much would I pay to get it, or how hard would I work to make it happen? So, for example, like that thing. What is that? It's like a myofascial release type of thing, and you roll out on your back. Using it for my back, I don't like it. It's not really that great. But those of you who come to my fitness live streams, you know that I use it to balance on when I'm doing my leg stretches. So in other words, that's actually valuable to me. And I would not want to part with that easily. I'm trying to think of something that like there, that thing under there, that little pulley system, that's a dolly for my kayak, which I never use. I don't think I would pay money to get that right now if I didn't have it, because I don't need to move my kayak because I don't use it. On the other hand, this thing right there, that little black ball, that thing, I would probably pay $100 for that. If that's how much that ball cost, I would pay $100. Why? That thing releases tension in my back when it is like zonked out more than absolutely any product I've ever had. Even I'm getting massage. That thing is amazing. That thing is better than a massage. So anyway, I started to think about all the different projects that I am involved with. And I kind of ran through this analysis. If I did not, knowing what I know now, would I start this company today? And would I work my butt off and have sleepless nights and invest time, energy, and money to get it successful, or to do that if I weren't already involved with it? And so what I did it with all of it. I did it with break diving, my not-for-profit, one of my not-for-profits. And with that one, the answer was absolutely yes. No way am I going to shut down breakdiving because that thing is my pride and joy. And this actually explains why I was talking with somebody else, a fellow TEDx speaker about 2 months ago, and I was asking for some advice and kind of sharing this story. And what that person said is, well, after I told everything, the person said, don't double down on breakdiving. I don't think that's where you need to. I don't talk to this person anymore. And that's when I realized how valuable breakdiving was to me and how much it meant to me. Because when this person's advice to me was shut down breakdiving, oh my gosh, it was a dagger in my heart. And I realized, no way. So I already knew without even doing this exercise that breakdiving was not on the chopping block. But I kept going and it kept going down. Oh, by the way, let me just a side note. Be very careful when people ask you for advice, because sometimes what they're asking for is not what you think they're asking for. I made it very clear, like to that person. I said, look, breakdiving is important to me. And that's an incredibly important part of my life. My advice that I'm asking you is, how do I integrate everything else into that? And that person didn't even listen, I guess, and still said, and you should not focus on breakdiving. Be careful with what you say to people, because if what you say destroys somebody's dream, you could lose a friend. And I'm not really friends with this person anymore. And this guy still doesn't even recognize the extent of the damage that he did. Don't trample on people's dreams, people. That's an order. So I went down my whole inventory of things. I actually did. I said, this pre-med thing. So I have all of the courses. I have all these degrees already. I've got about 8 degrees or something. And now I'm pursuing pre-med courses so that I can take the MCAT and go to med school. I mean, that's pretty crazy. What the heck am I doing? But doing this analysis of asking, if I hadn't put any effort, if I hadn't already done those 2 biology classes, and then would I still want to take physics? Would I still go to physics on Saturday? And my answer was absolutely, because I love learning. And I think that's really cool. And the idea of maybe becoming a doctor sounds interesting to me. I don't have to 100% commit to med school right now or the MCATs. All I have to do is commit to, do I want to learn about physics? And that answer is yes. So that was helpful. I realized, you know what? Going to this class on Saturday is an essential part of my life. And I did this with everything, all the different things that I'm doing. YouTube, it was 100% no-brainer. Absolutely, I'm continuing to put more effort into the YouTube channel. The breakdiving YouTube channel, absolutely. I'm excited. We got to 1,030 hours of watch time. And less than 2,000 to go, and then we'll be monetized. Then I'll have 2 monetized YouTube channels. That's a pretty cool thing to put on your resume, right? That's right, Clover. We need good doctors. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll become it. But I like the fact that I don't have to make the decision about, do I want to be a doctor right now? And why am I going down this pre-med path of physics 1, physics 2, biochemistry, then the MCAT, then 4 years of med school, then 3 years of That's overwhelming. The only question I need to ask is there an intrinsic value in learning physics just for the fact that I will learn about physics? Yes. And I'm going to learn more about physics in this class than I'm likely to do on my own, because it's going to force me to do it. So I gave a check to that. I know I'm going to do that. Well, here's the interesting part. I finally got to the private investigation part. And I asked myself, if I had not put all of this time and money, if I had not moved down to Florida already, if I had not gotten my Florida license as an investigator, gotten my New York private investigator license, if I had not already created the not-for-profit, if I had not already set up the Google ads, if I had not already built the website, if I had not done all of those things, let's say none of that ever happened, and right now, today, I'm in Florida, I'm in this apartment and this and that, would I embark on the journey of creating a private investigation agency and becoming a private investigator? The answer is no, zero. Which comes to the conclusion of what I've been talking about. I've made the very difficult, somewhat painful, but overall liberating decision that I'm letting my private investigator license for my agency in Florida expire tomorrow. And I'm not paying the $450 late fee that they imposed on me. In some ways, maybe they did me a favor. I'm still angry at them, and I publicly think that the Floridian law here is atrocious. And if anyone from the Florida legislature ever watches this, you got to change that law, that onerous $450 late fee, after you guys, the Florida government, took my $450 to renew the license. And then when I find out the license was not renewed, they say, oh, well, you didn't send us an email telling us of your intent to renew. Excuse me paying $450 was an intent to renew. And how can they argue otherwise? But I'm over that because it's a blessing in disguise. And so crazily, tomorrow I am starting the process of wrapping up and shutting down my private investigation agencies. And my dream of being a private investigator is fulfilled. For a while, I was thinking, no, my dream is dead. But no, I did what I wanted to do. I fulfilled my dream of what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I wanted to be a private investigator. I wanted to have a private investigator license. I wanted to be able to say, yes, I've had real cases as a private investigator. I've done it all. I've done that. And I realized I don't want to spend any more time on it. I have far more important things. Honestly, investigating how to grow this YouTube channel is so much more interesting than me trying to investigate crimes or those types of mysteries. And I'm realizing that detective skills can be used in many fields. I was also thinking maybe that's why I'm interested in being a doctor, because a doctor is an investigator of symptoms. And a doctor then analyzes those symptoms and tries to put all the clues together to say, hey, this is what I think you can do. I'm using detective and investigative skills every day with this YouTube channel, figuring out how can I attract more fans? How can I get more people to click like? How can I get more people to subscribe? I'm figuring out with the breakdiving channel every day, how do I get more hours of watch time? And I realize life itself is a detective story. Every day I am there are clues that I'm given every day. And as I talked about before with Sherlock Holmes, as Sherlock Holmes said, most of the day, massive clues go unnoticed by the masses of people because they don't have their eyes open and they're not looking for opportunities, for solutions, for whatever. I'm a private investigator in life. I am a detective in life because I am solving my problems every single day. I'm getting up and the case is open. One case is closed, new case is open. And it's an interesting perspective to think about it. All of you are detectives. Every single one of you is a detective. Yes, this is Monroe Mann says you were a private detective. That's funny. By the way, all of these messages, I'm going to go back up to the top and read through them. So we're going to go back and get through all of those. Why am I telling you this story? One, I'm super excited to share this liberating, joyous decision, knowing that now the only issue is for me to shut down the company, tell the IRS that the company's dissolved, tell Delaware and Florida and New York that the company's dissolved, and file my final IRS tax returns. Life changes. And that's something important too. When I made all these decisions, my mom didn't need as much help. When I moved down to Florida, when I started the PI firm, my mom needs a lot more help now. And I was not a YouTube live streamer at the time. Sometimes we make decisions not realizing that our life has changed. The circumstances have changed. And that's why a lot of people get into trouble, myself included. I'm a human just like you are. By the way, we got 15 likes, silver medal. And I didn't even have to ask at all. Thank you for those 15 likes. If anyone new is here, please click the screen. We'll get to maybe the gold medal, 20 likes. I am so excited that one huge stressor in my life will be gone. And not only it's a stressor, it was a sunk cost stressor. Because it was no longer bringing joy to my life. I was just running through hoops to keep this thing alive. And it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of legalities and a lot of, you're a licensed private investigator in 2 different states. That is a major responsibility. It's enough of a responsibility for me to keep my law license up to date. And let me just see if this is plugged in. Hold on. There we go. I got my little fan here. It's a little. All this chatting with you guys is getting me a little warm. Let me turn that on. All right. So I wanted to share that with you because it's good news for me. And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself that I did what I wanted to do. I became a licensed private investigator. And if that little guy or young man, when I was 20 years old, could see me today, well, I guess he can see me today because I'm him. But if there are 2 different people, that guy would be like, wow, Monroe, you did it. You became a private investigator in not only New York, but also Florida. I'm proud of it. The lesson for you guys is to really do an inventory of your life too and ask yourself, are there any projects or relationships or endeavors that I am involved with right now? What's up, Monique? That I'm only continuing to pursue because it's what I've always been doing, because it's become a habit for you to pursue that dream. Or because you're just locked into it. It was a really liberating moment when I read that part in the book that said, if you had never got involved with that, he didn't talk about my private investigation agency to begin with, but if you didn't have a private investigation agency now, would you go through with this all again to get where you are? No. But it also helped me to realize I've accomplished my dream. I did it. Why am I continuing to spend time, energy? Why would I spend an extra $450 to keep a dream alive that has already been fulfilled? It's an interesting turning point in my life because for most of my life, it was drive, do as much as you possibly can. And those of you who know me know I've done a heck of a lot. But I've run up to a roadblock now because I've actually maximized the amount of capability my brain is capable of handling. So at that point, my advice is push yourself as hard as you can. But when your eustress, remember I talked about that before, EU, like euphoric stress. Your eustress will motivate you and get you going. But eventually, as you're going along, if your distress is significantly higher than the eustress from that activity, you got to cut it. And in the last couple of weeks, and with a final decision moment today, I realized that the distress that comes from me running this private investigation agency is so much higher than the eustress that I get from having it. There are things in your life where the distress is too high. It could be a relationship. The same thing. if you're in a relationship, you can ask yourself, and let's say the distress is very high and the eustress is low. Ask yourself, if I were today not in this relationship, how hard would I work to get into it? How hard would I work to make it work? Maybe you'll realize that you are not in the right relationship. And maybe it'll take you 2 years to extricate yourself from it. For example, I can't just let the private investigation agency fall apart. Now I have to withdraw the licenses. I have to cancel my surety bond from New York. I mean, so many different little logistical things, but at least I'm on the right path. And I can't wait to just have one less thing that I'm doing in my life. Because the truth is, in the book, it also talks about too, it's saying if somebody asks you to, let's say your boss comes up to you and says, hey, Monroe, I need you to, here's another file, I need you to please make sure you get this done. You could say, I'm happy to take this on. I'm happy to make this a priority. Which of the other cases do you want me to deprioritize in order to make this a priority? And it forces your manager to really think, do I want to take this employee off of the other things that he is working on to focus on this? You have to realize, and this is where my TEDx talk, my grand TEDx talk that has 170 views. If any of you guys want to give it some support, go to TEDx, Monroe Mann TEDx on YouTube. There are 2 of them. One of them's got a lot of views. One of them has, how could it have less than 200 views? I'm flabbergasted. But anyway, it's called You Are the CEO of Me, Inc. And I want to remind you that that's what you need to do. You need to be the manager coming up and saying, hey, I need you to do this as well, but you need to talk back to the manager in you and say, what do you want me to deprioritize in order to do this? Over the last 3 or 4 years, I have just been saying yes and yes. The manager in me has been giving Monroe more and more things to do, and I've been thrust upon tasks that were not even contemplatable to me at the time, such as I did not think I would be helping my mom as much as I am. I'm happy to do it. And I'm grateful that she supported me in my life. I'm happy to support her when she needs me. But that was never part of the equation. And so what do I need to do? I finally am acknowledging that my life has changed since my dad has died. I have a lot more responsibility than I had before. Doesn't mean I have to give up on all my dreams, but it does mean that I need to perhaps deprioritize some of them in order to include the time that I'm doing with all these other projects. And I've realized that which one do I want to get rid of? Private investigation. I did it. It was fun. I had a blast. And I don't need to do it anymore. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to make break typing a better success. I want to be a good son and help my mom. So, I'm excited to have shared this with you guys. And I'm going to go back up now and read all of these comments. And I'm sure most of these people are not here anymore. But here we go. Ava is telling me that nobody cares. Well, 15 people gave me likes, which means 15 people do care. Wiley gave a nice verse from the Bible. For God so loved the world, he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. Amen. Jamie wants to visit India. Peter says respect. Let's see. Ava says her name is Asia, but why is her name Ava? I don't know. Okay, let me see. Someone says I don't know what Ava's saying there. Galaxy says, how are you doing? And Snake Oil says, you are obstressed. Ava asked if I had a nice Christmas. Yes, I did. Thank you very much. Galaxy's asking how I'm doing. Snake Oil says balance. Yes, balance is important. And let me see. Paranoia. Sorry for talking. And let's see. Ava's talking about it's going to snow. All right, I'm just catching up on these chat messages here. Oh, there's really nothing to catch up on. It really is just a lot of hey, hi, this is boring. So what you're saying is you're the goat. Freeboat, I'm not the goat. And I think that's maybe the lesson here, is that I'm not the greatest of all time. I am not somebody who is super special. Every single one of you has the same capacity to do as much as I do, and to get as stressed and as overwhelmed as I sometimes get. Oh, I think that's the number one thing that I want to remind people. I don't want to share my stories to have you guys think that I'm some superhero or Superman who's and that I'm able to do things that you can't. No, I'm just telling you to stop being lazy, and you could do exactly the same things that I do, if not even more. And let's see, what else? Lily's here. Freeboat says, my great-grandpa worked on many aircraft and rockets. Very interesting. Clover's here. Lily's here. You're the smartest person I know besides a judge who was my boyfriend in school. I beg to differ, Clover. I am so much smarter than the judge. Like, totally smarter. And wow, Freeboat. Very cool about Saturn V. What a great comeback. My cousin Asia said she gets bullied. I'm so sorry about Ava. Okay. I need to do Spanish lessons. Okay. Clover says, I wanted to quit my job, but I realized the job market is pretty bad, and I pushed myself to work, and I'm so happy I didn't give up. I'll give you a salute, Clover. Good job. Congratulations. And don't give up on finding a job that suits you. You know what? I just randomly, I don't know what's going to happen with this, but I got basically a phone call today. Somebody hired me to talk for a half an hour through this tutoring site. And so I got paid like $75 for 30 minutes. That's not bad, $75 for 30 minutes of chatting. And somebody in Miami, a doctor's office, and they're setting up a podcast studio. They have 3 rooms in their offices. We want this to be like a podcasting thing, and we saw your profile, and we know that you're a YouTube live streamer, and you're a lawyer, and you make movies and this and that. I don't know what's going to happen, but they said, look, we want to potentially hire you. And goes, and we do traveling a lot all around the country. We're looking to hire somebody to put together this production studio, hire people, get things up. I don't know what will happen with it, but I'm going to talk with them again in a couple of days. Point is, Clover, just stay strong. Don't give up on trying to find something that's very interesting. I think that would be a fascinating project for me to do, and I'm certainly eminently qualified given everything else that I'm doing right now. So keep up. Chris says, what's up? And Freeboat says, that's a smart thing to do. You're exhausting all your options. Thank you very much, Freeboat. Carly's back. Freeboat says, I have an abundance of knowledge. I prefer the Sam Hyde TEDx version of life, says Monroe Mann. And I don't know who that is. Yeah, well, how am I supposed to know? He says, you're never going to know who I am. We need good doctors. The golden child of Dade County. So Monroe Mann, NY might be somebody who lives nearby. And let's see. Okay, Monique is there. Clover is there. Says, I love you, amigos. Buenos noches. Till next time. And Carly says, good night. So I don't know who's still here. Hey, there are 3 people left watching. Identify yourselves. And then I can make sure I can give the 3 of you what you are looking for. Now there are 4 people. Who's still here? We had a big crowd of 15 people before. Now we're down to 4. Any of you want to actually say who you are? Jamie is here. Let's give a shout out to Jamie. Who else is here? Carly is here. Yeah. Who else is here? Come on. Come on. Speak up. Speak up. Okay. For those of you who joined late, the first thing I was talking about today was I want you all to watch this movie, Three Idiots, from 2009. It's a super hilarious Bollywood film that a couple of my friends in India recommended. A friend in the Philippines confirmed that. A friend in Pakistan said the same thing. And I said, all right, fine, I'll watch it. And it was 2.5 hours. I said, oh my gosh, 2.5 hours? This is going to be long and boring. Those 2.5 hours went like that. And it made me laugh. I cried 5 times during the movie. It inspired me so much. It reminded me to keep going after my dreams, not giving up. If you want to watch a good movie this week, watch Three Idiots. And watch, if you can, watch it with a couple of friends or something like that, because they will be grateful that you shared it with them. The other thing we're just talking about is this idea of sunk costs. And sometimes giving up is the absolute best thing that you can do. I don't want to say necessarily giving up or changing gears. By shutting down this private investigation firm, at first it felt like I was giving up. But when I started to realize, Monroe, you did what you wanted to do. When I was younger, when I was 19, 20, and I decided I want to be a PI, my dream was not, I want to have this huge private investigation agency around the world. That's the only thing that I want to do. It was just, I wanted to be a private investigator, and I thought that would be cool. Well, guess what? Check. I did it in 2 states. Don't be afraid to shut something down. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. I actually feel like it's a very successful decision. And it's funny that this ex-friend of mine, his advice was, don't double down on breakdiving. It was the wrong advice. He was coming from the right place of telling me I should probably cut something, but he chose the wrong thing, because breakdiving is my baby. And that thing's going to rocket me to the big time. He should have asked more probing questions, and it should have been, it's not, I think you should not double down on breakdiving. His question should have been, Monroe, let's take an inventory of every single thing you're doing, and then let's figure out what you don't need to be spending time on, so that you could, and then find out what you do want to spend most of your time on. And that would have done this analysis that I'm doing with you here on YouTube Live. Cut your losses. Cut your losses. Put your time put your time and money into what you think is. Echo, isn't it a good movie? Such a good movie. Three Idiots. Woo! Do you tell me if you like, you know what? I also think I think if you're on a YouTube Live, you're watching it, and then you leave for 5 minutes, and then you come back, it keeps you going at the exact same spot. So you're not actually watching it live anymore. Because Echo just said, I've seen the movie, but that's talking about something that I was talking about like 5 minutes ago? I don't know. Oh, no, I guess it is in real time. Yeah, what a good movie. Echo, are there any Chinese movies that are very funny and heartwarming and touching like this Bollywood movie? Because when I was in Shanghai, I did see some nice films in China. And I'm sure there've got to be some. Do you know I Qing Gong Yu? It's basically the Chinese version of Friends. I find it very funny. It's silly, but it's good. Not all of my problems are solved. I still have a big amount of stress in my life, of distress. But the truth is, it's been reduced by 25%, 30%, just knowing that I can wash my plate of Intertect. I'm still thrilled and proud that I did it, but it's a good feeling to free up a massive amount of my time. And here's the other thing too. Some things in life don't take up a lot of time physically, but they take up a lot of time mentally. And that's what Intertect has been doing for me these last 2 years. Hasn't been taking up a huge amount of time physically. Well, it has been, and financially. But mostly it's mentally, me thinking in the back of my mind about it all the time. That's why sometimes if you have a difficult problem, like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to call, my friend Mark keeps calling me. I really don't want to talk to him because it's about that, blah, 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 and you keep avoiding it. But then you're ruminating on it constantly, day in and day out. And then 3 weeks later, he finally gets you on the phone and you're like, hey, Mark. And then he says, hey, Monroe, I just wanted to call and let you know that I got married and I just wanted to, get together for lunch. And meanwhile, maybe I was thinking that he was calling about something else. How much time did you waste being stressed out about it when if you had just faced it head on? Not only you would have saved so much distress, which could then have been replaced with eustress by if you just picked up the phone the first time, you would have found out that there wasn't negative. The actual confrontation was good news that would result in you having less distress. Echo saying there are some new funny movies that are, let's see. What is that? Fei Ba Ren Xing? How do you say that? Oh, Fei Ba Ren Sheng? 拼音是什么？因为我看不懂，你必须写拼音，谢谢。I think, am I right? Fei Ba Ren Sheng? Something else that's very interesting about this. While my mom and I were watching this, we were both thinking like, oh, Fei Chi Ren Sheng. Fei Chi Ren Sheng. Not bad. I got 75% right. Aren't you guys impressed with my Chinese skills right there? It's a good thing to watch. Fei Chi Ren Sheng. Carly, I will say to you, Wanan. Wanan means good night in Chinese. Carly, you have to say it out loud. Wanan. Carly, Wanan. Good. I'm glad you said it. So now you guys know how to say good night in Chinese. Thank you as always for your support, Carly. I greatly appreciate it. Don't be afraid to say goodbye to something, because saying goodbye to one thing could allow you to say hello to something else. Going back to the story I was telling about my mom and I watching the show, and she's like, it's so beautiful, this and that. I said, yeah, wouldn't that be nice? I want to go to India. Do you want to go? And she goes, oh, yeah, that would be nice. And guess what? By shutting down this company, I'm not throwing good money after bad. I am no longer occupied in my mind by managing yet another company. This YouTube channel is a company. So basically, how can I have started this company and I got too many companies. So I'm going to shut down Intertect. Hooray! I'm so excited. And maybe that's going to free up time, energy, and money so that my mom and I can go to India this year, which has been a lifelong dream. Jamie, maybe you should come and meet us there. We'll have lunch in New Delhi and suffer through the horrible, horrible pollution that's there. I used to think that China had the worst pollution. Shanghai and Beijing were terrible when I lived there. But they're nothing compared to what New Delhi is now. New Delhi, India is just crazy. If you download an app called Air Visual IQ, Air Visual IQ, you can get the PM 2.5. PM stands for particulate matter, and 2.5 is the measurement of how tiny these items are. They're smaller than particulate matter 2.5. If it's 2.5 or lower, it's so small that it can get inhaled. But as a result, I forget what it was. It actually like penetrates the lungs or something like that, and actually can reduce your life expectancy. So if we go, we have to, I don't know, wear masks or just accept the fact that by visiting India, we are reducing our life expectancy. Let's see. I don't know what that means. You still on mama's skirt. Johnny, what does that mean? I don't know if that's offensive or if that's disgusting, or you can let me know. Yeah, Jamie, so that sounds good. So we will go and maybe we can go check that out. I'll let you know if that actually does end up happening. Homework for you guys. Make a list of every single project and person who is taking up a big portion of your life. So if make a list of the top 20 people that you spend time with. Make a list of the projects you are working on. Make a list of the books that you are reading. Think about that too. Sometimes I have to do this too. Sometimes I'll buy a book, I'll start reading it, and the book is just terrible. And it's not entertaining, it's not beneficial in any way. But I keep forcing myself to read it because I'm convincing myself that no, this is a good book. This is educational. I'm very happy, Johnny. Yes, I'm very gay. As you can see, I'm smiling. So, are you? Are you gay too? Because it'd be great to have 2 gay people here on the live stream. I'm gay. You're gay. I think Jamie, are you gay? Who else is gay on the live stream? I'm happy. I'm gay. James Ortiz, did you get a real job? No, I still have no real job. I'm doing YouTube monetization coaching. I've been helping a bunch of people with monetizing their YouTube channel. I'm still a lawyer, and I have clients in New York, and I still have savings and investments that I'm liquidating. So James says, I am a target, not gay. I don't know what that means. Jamie, I'm glad you're pretty gay. Awesome. We got to stick together, us gay people. Yeah, it does sound pretty gay. My life is really gay, and it's good to be happy. It's good to be happy, my friend. And what did you say about India? Did you say something bad about India? Let me see. I think Johnny said something bad about India. India needs to stop making people. Well, no, I disagree with that because this overpopulation myth that was first promulgated by the economist Malthus back in, I think, the 1800s. There is so much room on this planet, it is unbelievable. Something like 70% of the United States is uninhabited farmland or forests. 90% of the people of India's 1.4 or 1.5 billion live in about 10% of its landmass. You look at India and you find that it's 1/5 the size of China, maybe. And you think, how can all those people fit in? They don't even live in most of the countryside. They're all concentrated in the big cities. If you look at the United States, most of our population are on these huge eastern coast metropolises. We got 26 million people. No, even about, I don't know. It's about 26 million or something in New York, 26 million in Florida, 26 million, 36 million or something in California, 26 million. I mean, like, we're already talking about half of the population is just in like 4 states. So it's the same thing in the United States. So there is no population issue. India is going to be just fine. Let me see. We've got some Pod Fun. You're gay too. Awesome. I love happy gay people, and I love it when they join the live stream. And let's see. Monroe is not afraid. Johnny says there are a lot of rapes there. Unfortunately, there are a lot of that's a problem in many countries, and it's not good. And I do agree it's a problem in more countries than others, but the United States is certainly not a bastion of perfection and holiness and good behavior. So, actually, James, I don't live with my mom. My mom lives in the apartment four doors down. She's elderly, and I care for her. And I hope, James, that you do the right thing when your parents are having problems. And I hope that people like you don't insult you when you're doing that as well. So I don't know if you're insulting or you're trying to compliment, but anybody who helps his or her parents is an angel in my book, because it's an extremely difficult thing to do. So, all right, we've got a lot of pretty negative comments happening here in the chat. Well, then, good, James. I salute you then, because you're doing a good service, helping your mother, and I think that's fantastic. And Johnny says, "Dude, you're like 45." No, I'm 47, actually. Johnny, I will have to say, I'm going to give you a little speech here. Try not to be insulting to people. I don't know what you gain from it. It doesn't make you a better person. It makes everybody here just looks down upon you and thinks, why are you wasting your time? Because I've got a lot of fans on here, and I'm just not timing you out because you're being somewhat amusing. But I learned long ago that bullies are big losers, and they have no effect on me really whatsoever. People have called me absolutely everything, and you can continue to try to razz me, but I don't care. I'm over it. You should be like a lot of the other spammers and bullies who have actually come to my side and realized, hey, this guy's pretty cool, and subscribe and click like and come to the live streams and be a part of the family rather than being part of the Axis powers against Monroe Mann. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to chat about on this live stream. That awesome movie, 3 Idiots. The liberation you can get from shutting a project down that means a lot to you, but may not be where you should be best spending your time. I will say this, I don't know. I still don't have 100% clear direction of what I'm doing with my life. I'm still kind of playing around with the pre-med stuff, looking at a federal job. I am pushing hard to make breakdiving a success, to grow this YouTube channel, to make it a little bit more, more robust, for lack of better terms, and monetizing the breakdiving channel. I mean, I have a direction. I know what I'm doing right now, but I haven't figured out 100% I don't know where I will be a year from now. And a lot of people sometimes know exactly where they will be a year from now. I don't. In some ways, I think that's a good thing. I think I like my life being an adventure and being unpredictable and not knowing precisely what I will wake up to in the morning. because tomorrow could be, who knows? I've got so many irons in the fire, and I've planted so many seeds that any day one of them could explode. And yeah, I guess that's basically all I wanted to say today. Echo says, you take care of your mother. You're an amazing person. Live with mom. Well, good for you, Echo. Fantastic. Honestly, I applaud anybody who cares for a parent. I would live with my mom if we could live together. We love each other dearly, but she and I, if we get into close quarters for too long, it's two butting heads, and it's a problem. So I found this very good scenario where we both live in basically adjoining apartments, but I don't have to worry about being in close quarters and not being able to escape, and she doesn't have to worry about being in close quarters with me and not being able to escape. So for any of you watching, if you want to care for your parents but you have problems living with them, you could maybe try to do something like I'm doing, where you're living very, very close by. And I have a pair of socks here, and there's there we go. Look what I got out of the sock. Do you see this thing? You do not want one of those in your sock. You want to see my socks? They're pretty cute. they're honeycombs. Look at that. A little bee. I wore those at my interview at the police department today. That's another thing I know. This will be the very last law enforcement job interview I go on. But the truth is, again, as I was thinking about, I don't even know if I want to do it anymore, because my whole desire to do it because I wanted to be a detective. But now that I've been a private detective for 3 years, I'm not really sure I'm that interested in that. Yeah, James, I am a proud Trump supporter. I am grateful that the United States has been saved. I'm glad that the thanks, Jamie. That's what did it for you, huh? Was the socks? None of the beautiful life lessons that I shared. It was the socks. But you know what? I'll take it. Let me add you to the super board. Thank you for your support, Jamie. As always. 18. Jamie, look at that. You're 1, 2, 3. We need some other people. Jamie, a YouTube channel cannot survive on Jamie alone. Socks. That's funny. Thank you very much, Jamie. As you know, I always greatly appreciate your support. It's lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, look how powerful Donald Trump is. He's the most powerful president-elect we've ever had. When else does... Maybe we had somebody who's somewhat similar with Ronald Reagan, and which is kind of interesting because President Carter, who was basically just as weak of a president as Biden, I think Carter was a little bit better. At least he was honest. And then we had Ronald Reagan come in, who was a gunslinger. Same thing with Biden, and then Trump. Trump is the gunslinger. He's done more in the last month since the election than like Biden has done in his entire 4 years. And I am so curious to see what's going to happen with the hostages that Hamas has. Because if they are not released before Trump takes office, mark my words, Trump is not playing around, and he's going to get down to business. Little bee socks are cute. Thanks, Echo. Jamie, when I was going through some stuff, I wore funny socks every day, made me smile. Look at the influence that Trump has had on Elon Musk and X with the free speech. Now, Facebook and Instagram are getting rid of their fact checkers, and they're going to use the community notes system, the same one that is used on X. I got my criticisms of X. I'm on there, on and off. It's another cesspool of craziness. Thanks, Jordan. I don't think if it's a political stance. I think it's just common sense. I mean, I'm just a normal American. The way that I think is the way normal Americans thought 40 years ago, including Democrats. Today, Democrats have become loopy wackos. Woke, poor policies. Like, literally, what the heck are they talking about? Let's have open borders. Let's give benefits to illegal immigrants. Let's reduce let's tax everybody more and more and more. I'm trying to just think of some of the other like bonkers policies. Let's get rid of the police. If you were a Democrat, imagine if John F. Kennedy, I know someone asked about RFK. I'll get to him in a second. If John F. Kennedy said back in the 60s, let's defund the police, let's support these really strange woke policies, and like one of them is the transgender thing. Let them do whatever the heck they want. I don't really care. But to have major policy decisions be made on people who make up 0.001% of the population, and to have schools push this ideology onto children is just, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with these people, that they're trying to groom these children into becoming something that they are not. And I'm in pre-med. The more I learn about biology, it's like literally there is a man and there are women. You can't change your sex. You can't do it. You were not born into the wrong body. No. Now, if you as an adult believe that, I support you. Go ahead and do whatever you wish to your body. But schools and teachers should not be usurping parents in their parental right to control the upbringing of their children. At the same time, shame on those parents who are encouraging their 6 and 7, 8 and 10-year-olds to get gender reassignment surgery. What? It's hard enough. Any of you who are adults know how hard it is to make decisions as an adult. How much harder is it for us to make decisions as a child? I am so grateful that for example, here, I wish my parents had forced me to get summer jobs or part-time jobs. They didn't. But I wish they had. There are a lot of things that I wish my parents had forced me to do. And there's some things that my parents forced me to do that I'm grateful that they did. 9 times out of 10, parents know best. Except when you watch the movie 3 Idiots, except when it comes to choosing careers. Sometimes parents are too onerous in their opinions about what a child should do. If you're a parent, let your kids choose what they want to do. But I think that's the problem, is I think this idea of like parents shouldn't pressure their children into careers or into schools or whatever. They're applying that to, well, we shouldn't pressure them into choosing a gender. Those are completely different things. There's XX chromosome and XY. That is it. Echo says, I'm going to have a siesta. Great. Echo, if you could instead of keeping the live stream on, go to break diving and go watch one of the old live streams on there while you're sleeping, because we need the watch time there so we can get monetized. Jamie, have a wonderful night. Sleep well. And the two of you are kind of reminding me that maybe I should head off to bed shortly too. It's almost 1 a.m. here. And I can't believe this has already been an hour and a half. But I've been having a good time chatting with you guys. And in answer to the question, Jordan, RFK, I think he's a good, happy medium. He's still Democrat, but he and Nicole Shanahan are certainly people who have head on their shoulders. I think they were brilliant to sidestep the presidential election and get out and endorse Trump, because RFK now is going to have a great deal of power and the ability to influence legislation. And I think by and large, RFK has the country's best interest at heart. I think he is determined to preserve the Kennedy legacy and the Kennedy name. The Kennedys have not really been in office in a long time. And although he's not going to be in office, he's going to have a major policy position within the Trump administration. And I think it's going to pave the way for, I think in some ways he's also preserving the Democrat Party to some extent, even though I don't think he's a Democrat anymore. I think he's independent. And as he said, he goes, I didn't leave the Democrats left me. Echo, that's awesome. I'm grateful that you watch Breakdiving every day. It'll help us with the watch time. And Jordan, yeah, I don't really care about the food dyes. I mean, whatever. If I'm going to get cancer, I'm going to get cancer. But at the same time, do I really need my Fruit Loops to be super red? No. Do I need my marshmallows to have a certain yellow? No. So if there's a way to use natural food coloring or less toxic food coloring, of course, absolutely. I don't care. I hope he gets the high fructose corn syrup out of sodas, and I hope that Mexican Coke becomes American Coke. I don't know if you guys know, in Mexico they use pure cane sugar in the Coca-Cola. So that's why if you get a Coca-Cola that's in a bottle, it's usually bottled in Mexico. And if it's got the cane sugar in it, that Coke tastes so much better than the Coke out of a can. Coke out of a can, Coke out of a bottle, yummity, 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 yummity. We got 18 likes. Can we get 2 more likes? Double tap the screen. Maybe we can get the gold medal. Though according to YouTube, it says there are only 2 people here who are still here. Who are the last 2 people here? Jordan, I think you're still here. Who else is the other person? Oh, you know what? I also want to see did anybody subscribe from this live stream? Let's see if I got a couple new subscribers. That would be nice. Let me go check it out. Jordan is in the house. All right, before I had 4,655 subscribers. Let's see. Oh no, that jumped a lot. That's not, now it says 4,683. Well, I am not complaining. Only 17 away from 4,700. We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting there. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. So Jordan is here. Somebody else is here. I don't know who it is. Jordan, how old are you, if you don't mind? Or what's your age range? And where do you live in the United States? Let me put this back in the fridge. I got to go shopping tomorrow and get some. I have nothing to drink in my. Well, actually, I do. I have these Dr. Peppers. Let's see if it has high fructose corn syrup or sugar. The first 2 ingredients: carbonated water, high fructose corn syrup. Here's the other thing, too. Look, this thing says it includes 39 grams of added sugars. And so this entire can is 78% of the daily intake of sugar as recommended by the U.S., USDA, I guess. And Is that USDA? That's why I much prefer the cans that are half the size of this, because the ones that are 6 fluid ounces, you get plenty of drink, just enough but it's half the sugar, which I'm sure is good. I love sugar and I don't shy away from it, but if you can't avoid it. Oh, Jesse and Jacob, double tap the screen. We'll get to 20 likes. I need one more like, and we got the gold medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. 31 and in Texas. Awesome, Jordan. Cool. Don't mess with Texas. That's what they say. Jacob says, I posted a song. Awesome, Jacob. I look forward to check. Jacob, can you leave a comment on one of my videos and just remind me to go check out your song? I'd love to go listen to it. Jesse doesn't want to get out of bed today. Got to get out of bed, Jesse. Just as I don't want to go to sleep now, but I have to because I don't want to stay up too late. Yeah, it's Dr. Pepper. Jacob, did you click like? Because Jacob said he did. We need one more like, and then I can go to bed. Just one more like. Double tap the screen. Do it! Jesse, don't hate school. We got 20 likes. Huzzah! Congrats, guys. We got the gold medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. What's up, Jay? Nice to have you. You came right at the end. I'm ending the live stream now. Jesse, don't hate school. On Saturday, I am going to Physics 1. I'm going back to school. I'm 47 years old. I'm going back to college. So don't hate school. Embrace it. What's up, Kimmy? How are you? No, I'm not going to stream for 6 more hours. No. Physics is cool. Jordan, are you heading off to bed as well? By the way, Kimmy just posted a bunch of new videos. Her channel is What's on Kimmy's Mind. We're trying to get her to 50 subscribers so she can start doing live streams. And currently, she's at 24. I'm just looking now to see. Oh, look at that. She's got a video here.
It is cold. It is windy. It's like 20 degrees.
Look at that.
Maybe colder. But this is the nicest rest stop.
So yeah, go everyone. Make sure you go watch Kimmy's awesome channel. Let me see if she. Let me see something. Kimmy, you have 25 subscribers now. Congratulations. So that's what I'm telling you. You just got to keep doing it. Sometimes you'll do one short and you'll get 30 subs. Sometimes you'll do 10 shorts and you won't get any subs. You just got to keep trying. Keep trying it. Oh, Jay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks for helping out Kimmy here. And Kimmy, you want to be a vet? No kidding. Yes, physics is needed. Yeah, physics. I'm looking at the first class on Saturday. I have to do the homework tomorrow because we have pre-homework before the first class is on kinematics. And I'm sure kinematics is basically like force equals mass times acceleration and things like that. Save on vet bills. You're funny, Kimmy. Yeah, that's why I'm going to go. Why did you go to med school? When I'm sick, I just wanted to, I didn't want to get out of bed. I just wanted to, have my own kit right there, lean over, take my temperature, take my blood pressure, ask myself my own questions. Monroe, tell me how you're feeling. Well, I've got a pain in my stomach. And can you describe that a little bit more, Monroe? Sure. Uh-huh. By the way, guys, if you have symptoms of something, ChatGPT is getting really good. And it's free to download the ChatGPT app. And you can give what symptoms you have, and it does a pretty good job of ascertaining what could the possible symptoms be. So check that out. Jay wants to commit fraud. Jay. Naughty. No, you don't. You don't want to commit fraud. That's not good. Too many animals to save. Well, that's very interesting, Kimmy. based on that, you should really modify your channel as well to include more animals, and let people know. Let people know that you're a nurse and that you're thinking about going to become a vet and stuff. I mean, just try to draw people in. It's not Jay. It's not. The question is not what happens if you commit fraud. It's what happens if you get caught for committing fraud. Now, I'm not telling you that as an encouragement to commit fraud, but committing crimes does not. Nothing happens when you commit crimes, per se. Except sometimes people get killed when you're committing crimes, and that's not good. But like in New York, then it's felony murder. But a lot of times, it's not the question of what happens if you commit a crime, it's what happens if you get caught. And Jay, you will get caught. All criminals get caught eventually. Don't think you can, and which is a nice button to everything I was talking about today about distress and eustress. As a criminal, you are always under distress. There is always, even if it's not massive amounts, but you're always going to have distress because you're always thinking about, is today the day they catch me? When are they going to figure out that I did this? It's not a pleasant life to lead, knowing that you are guilty of something and quote unquote got away with it, because you're always going to be wondering, are they going to figure it out? So that's good, Jay. I'm glad you're saying not me. What's the punishment for committing fraud and getting caught? That depends. If there are federal fraud statutes, there are state fraud statutes. In most cases, depending on the level. Like, what state are you in, Jay? Well, I'm not giving you any legal advice, and I am not your attorney. But if you committed a crime, you should turn yourself in. I don't think I'd be able to live with myself if I committed a crime and we're gallivanting around. So if any of you have committed a crime, do the right thing and turn yourself in, because then you still have to go to trial. They still have to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And O.J. Simpson, we know that he murdered his wife, Nicole, and Ron Brown, his alleged lover. He did it. He knows that he did it, and he's dead now, but he knew that he did it. There's no way that he was ever at peace because of that, because he was living this lie. I think he would have been able to have had a better psychological, emotional life if he had turned himself in for that, and if he did not get off as not guilty. But typically, if you turn yourself in, you're going to, that is taken into consideration. And certainly the severity of the crime is of the most important factor. But your defense attorney, or anyone's defense attorney, if they can say, Your Honor, my client did the right thing and turned himself in, please take that into consideration during sentencing. And typically, if you turn yourself in, and then it's on the fence of like a 5-year sentence or a 15-year sentence, if you turn yourself in, maybe the judge will be more likely to recommend a sentence, a lesser sentence. Just a possibility. Jay, it depends if that's successful or not. If it's successful, then the answer is no. If you were unsuccessful in that attempt, then yes, the answer is probably a yes. 100%. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to head off and go to Sleepy Pie. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, make a list of all of the projects you're involved with, all of the people that you spend your most time with, and don't look at the sunk costs. In other words, don't look at the time and effort and money you've already spent on these things. Ask yourself, like, if I were not friends with this person now, would I make an effort to be friends with this person? If the answer is no, jettison that relationship. If you have a business or a job, and it's like, if I didn't have this job right now, would I be fighting to get this job? If the answer is no, it doesn't mean you necessarily quit, but you should start looking for another job. And if you have a business and you ask yourself, if I didn't have this business now, would I start it today? And would I make an effort to make it successful? If the answer is no, who cares about the fact that you already spent all this time? You only have a limited time on earth. Don't spend it in distress. Work every day to reduce your distress and increase your eustress. Thank you guys so much. My name is Monroe Mann. Thank you for clicking like, for subscribing. Kimmy, great to see you. Jay, great to see you. I don't know who else is still here. Jesse, good to see you. Jordan, great to see you. Jacob, great to see you. Have a wonderful night. It's been a great pleasure, and I hope you have a lovely night or morning or afternoon wherever you may be in the world. Bye, guys. Thank you.